Hey everybody, so welcome back to Jim Bob's Garden. Today we're going to talk politics. Ha, just kidding. I don't talk politics. At least, I have some pretty strong opinions, but I'm not going to talk to y'all about it. Alright? So, with that being said, let's talk about what we're really here to talk about, and that is what to plant in February. Now, I'm going to make it easy for you. I'll tell you what you want to plant, and that is you want to plant what you're going to eat. All right. Kohlrabi is a great example. All right, kohlrabi is a really interesting plant, and I planted it a couple years in a row, and it makes this really weird alien-looking egg kind of thing, which is, kind of cool, and it's kind of like cabbage, but we never really figured out something that we like to eat for kohlrabi. So why would you grow it? Basically, plant what you want to plant. All right, 2. My last video was about not getting suckered in, and what I was trying to tell everybody by that is basically that we can still get a frost all the way up until beginning of March into February. Doesn't look like it. Right now it's like 80 degrees out, which is about 20 degrees above what is normal. 15-20 degrees thereabouts for us here in the Northeast Florida area. And I was telling everybody, don't put your plants out because there's still a possibility of frost. Well, the 10-day forecast, the lowest temperatures it's shown over the next 10 days is 70 degrees. So, I don't know. Smart money is don't put anything out until after the 15th because you may have to protect it from frost. But, there are ways to protect things from frost. It's just, if you've got a garden the size of mine, then it's a big chore to try and protect all of it from frost. So maybe put some stuff out, but be judicious and think about what you're doing, so that you have a plan for, okay, if I do get a frost, because like I said, we've had them all the way into March. If I do get a late frost, you got to be ready for that and have a plan to deal with it. All right, but with that being said, let me go through the list. Now, this is from UF, all right, University of Florida. If you go online, you can look up their planting calendar, which is what I recommend for anybody anywhere, is go to your local resource, which is typically your local university, and see if they have some sort of planting guide for your area, okay? But February, all right, talks about arugula, basil, beets, broccoli, cabbage, carrots, chard, collards, cucumbers, eggplant, lettuce, melons, okra, peas, peppers, potatoes, spinach, strawberries, tomatoes, and turnips. Now, that being said, it shows a difference on this list of what should be direct seeded and what should be seeded indoors for transplanting later. Like basil, it says to seed that indoors. Right now, broccoli says to seed it indoors. Chard, cucumbers, eggplant, melons, okra, peppers. All of those should be seeded indoors and not put out necessarily this time of year. All right. And one of the things, that I'm going to go get, because it's kind of weird. Strawberries, it says to transplant them in October and November. But it's really hard to find strawberries in October and November. All right, because a lot of your stores that sell plants are basically expecting what most of the country will plant. This time of the year, for most of the country, we're getting over the snows and the cold. We're just starting to get into spring, and that's when you want to put your strawberries out. But for us here, right now is the time when strawberries are going to start to fruit out and grow. And so if you don't already have them transplanted or planted in the ground, chances are pretty good you're not going to get much of a crop. So for us, the time to plant strawberries is actually in October and November. All right. But which I have some, but I'm going to go buy some transplants, and hopefully they'll survive through the year, and be ready for next year. All right, so that's my plan. Let's see, what does it say for strawberries? Yeah, that's the only time it tells you to plant them is October, November, but you can't find them, all right, because it's all Halloween stuff and it's all Christmas stuff until about this time of year. All right, even now there's so much Valentine stuff out there, which take care of your Valentine. All right, take it from me. All right, 36 years of marriage. We just celebrated our 36th anniversary. Take care of your Valentine, all right? All right, but with that being said, some of the other things you might want to think about what to do this time of the year. If you look here, I just cleared this bed out, and I'm getting it all prepped up. I got a lot of compost in the soil, got it all cleared out, and I got to go through and start weeding out other stuff and getting other areas cleared out to prep for planting, okay? Because if you look, well, I know this is going to be kind of hard to see, but if you look here, this is the list for February, right here. Not a lot of yellow. Man, if you look for March, everything, it seems like it's time to plant, okay? So a lot of stuff needs to go out in March if you're going to put it out at all, because we have to beat our July and August hot times. It gets really hot and humid here in August and July, and it makes it very difficult to grow anything. All right, so again, let's go back to what to plant. Plant what you're going to eat. Do you like salads? Plant salad. Do you like fruits? You can still plant fruit trees this time of year. Now, it's getting a little warm. You're going to have to water them a lot, but there's plenty of fruit trees out there. Now's a great time to go ahead and get a few fruit trees in the ground. So that way, if you like fruit, you can have plenty of fruit. Do you like tomatoes? Do you like basil? Basil. We make a fantastic pesto from our basil. All right, been having a hard time getting a lot of basil growing this time of year, but it's starting to get to where hopefully I'll get some going, and I'll get it planted out. Really good stuff. There's another thing called holy basil. I highly recommend it. If you can find some holy basil seed or some holy basil plants, it's a great sleepy time tea, according to my wife. She loves it. All right, it smells really good. It smells kind of like basil and bubblegum mixed. It's really crazy. But definitely check out some holy basil. We grow a lot of cabbage. Now, we don't cook cabbage. We eat it primarily in salads. The coleslaw is really good too if you get some good headed cabbage. But again, the cabbage thing, you really got to be ahead of the game. If you don't have cabbage already planted, by the time the heads get big, the bugs will have infested them so bad that it's really hard to keep the heads. Now, there are some strategies that you can use to, and we'll talk about that as time goes on. But we're getting to the end of the cold weather season. I mean, obviously it's like 80 degrees. So I'm really kind of worried about a lot of the stuff that I had planted, hoping for a longer cold weather season. And I'm afraid that a lot of that's going to start to bolt out. And we'll take what we can if that happens. And then, I'll save some seeds and we'll plant again next year. All right. I mean, this is just part of being in a garden. All right. If you're growing a garden, every year's different. Every year is a little bit different. Every year there's going to be challenges. Every year there's going to be successes and failures. All right, so you just do the best you can with the information you got and go with it that way. A lot of people swear by the Old Farmer's Almanac, which is now an online subscription-based website. But it's got some good advice. I know that, man, when I grew up in Kansas, all the old timers got that almanac every year and swore by it. That's the only way to go about planting, according to them. Let's see, what else? Oh, this is the other thing. All right, so planting is one thing. Yes, you want to start getting your soil prepped and ready to go for planting. Get some stuff planted, but you also, now is the time to start doing some of your infrastructure things. All right, what do I mean by that? Well, if you're planning on putting in like a watering system, or if you're planning on putting in, irrigation, if you're planning on putting in, like I'm building trellises right now out in my garage, and hopefully I'll be able to show you some of that. But if you want trellises, you want to start looking at, what are you going to have to get your plants to grow up and over, especially beans and things like that. So now's the time for those infrastructure projects, if you can get them done before, the height of the growing season starts, which is anywhere from the 15th of this month into March. I mean, by March, you should have almost everything planted that you're going to want to go through the summer with, up to the summer. Something just attacked me. All right, so I'm going to go over the list one more time of what to plant. in February. Arugula, basil, beets, broccoli, cabbage, carrots, carrots, collards, cucumbers, eggplant, lettuce, melons, okra, peas, peppers, potatoes, spinach, tomatoes, and turnips. One of the things about that too is when you're talking about potatoes, all right, potatoes for me have been a challenge. All right, if I was going to plant potatoes, had I known we were going to have this instead of more freezes, I would have had the potatoes planted first of this month. All right, now it's only like the 5th right now, so don't get me wrong, it's not like we've gone too far into the month, but you know, the problem is potatoes here tend to die back once the heat hits, and the heat hits pretty quick. So, and you kind of need about 6 months, well, I don't know, 3 to 6 months before you actually get good solid potatoes. So I don't know whether or not I can plant some. I'll probably put a row or two over there and just see how it goes. I haven't had a lot of luck lately, and I think it's because I'm putting them in too late. You know, my rule has always been Valentine's Day. Have your potatoes in the ground by Valentine's Day, which is fast approaching. We're only 9 days away. But I typically am only getting small potatoes. Now keep in mind, my only fertilizer, I don't buy fertilizer because, you know, this is a low budget operation. I mean, I'm trying to do this without spending a huge amount of money. Otherwise, I mean, potatoes are cheap. You want to go buy food, potatoes are like one of the most cost-effective foods out there. You know, it's pound for pound, you get more mass and more food out of potatoes than just about anything else for the money. All right, so, man, that brought me to another topic I was going to talk about. What was it? This is why I should be writing notes, huh? What do you think? A script? No, I don't do scripts. Can't do scripts, man. If I do scripts, then it's just like, I don't know, seems fake. But yeah, that's what I got going on for now. Obviously, I'm going to get some weeding done, start tearing stuff up, and like, you know, I've got a lot of old dead plants that are still in the ground, which is not bad, by the way. The roots rot down in the ground, and that provides, you know, things for worms to eat and so on. Things, you know, it's more biomass in the ground. And my soil is getting better and better year over year. Still a lot of sand, but man, it's a lot more compost, a lot more loamy. It's getting a lot better, all right? And it's taking a lot of time and a lot of compost, all right? That's the thing you really need to think about starting to grow here in February. It's going to get to be time for mowing, and you know, that's a great time for composting. Let's get your compost going too, so that way you can side dress these plants as the season goes along, and put that compost around the plants so that feeds as the water runs through it, it'll feed it down into the soil. All right, but that's what I got going on. That's what I recommend you plant here in the month of February. Get some stuff planted. Either buy your own plants or go get some seeds and get the seeds started soon. Because, you know, usually it takes about a month for seedlings to get big enough to actually put in the ground. And if you haven't got those seedlings going yet, you may want to think about going and buying plants. I mean, you can find them fairly reasonable. And I'll tell you a little secret. When you go to the store to buy plants, always try and find the ones that have 2 plants per pot. All right. Sometimes you can find some that, you know, like 2 or 3, maybe even 4, because, you know, it's really hard to put a single seed into a pot. And then once you get them home, you can take those and gently separate, which I'll show you once I get some plants. I'll buy some more plants this year, just if nothing else, just to show you that. But then you can just kind of gently separate them out just by kind of shaking and pulling, and you can get those planted. And instead of just getting one plant, you'll have a little bit of cost-saving measures. Seeds. Where do you get seeds? You can buy them online. It may just be me, but it seems like seeds are a lot more reasonable this year. Even last year, I want to say Dollar Tree was like 3 for $1, but either way, right now they're 4 for $1.25. So it's like 31 cents per packet for seeds at the Dollar Tree, and those seeds work. We planted a bunch of them last year. They grew just fine. You can buy them online, but I will say that they tend to be more expensive online, whereas most of the big box stores, Walmart, Lowe's, Home Depot, All of those type places have seed displays out now finally. So I highly recommend going out, getting the seeds that you want, and getting them started or get them in the ground so that they can grow from where they are. Alright, that's what I got going on in February. Thanks for stopping by. Do me a favor, give me a like and a subscribe if you like the video. Most importantly, get something growing in your yard. It's a wonderful thing to be able to walk into your backyard and grab a whole bunch of food. Alright, thanks again. Y'all come back to see me.